Remember, we don't mute. Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to our review for stuff that he had to handle. But don't worry, have no fear. We actually have Charlie with me. We're going to be doing a spoiler review for Thor: Love and Thunder. I hope that you guys enjoy it. And without further ado, let's get on with the show. All right, and hey, Charlie, how are you doing?
I'm alright. How you doing, John? Sorry about the intro. I didn't mean to mute you there, but oh well. But yeah, I'm good. Ready to talk about Thor.
Same here. I'm ready to talk about. Um, Getting into this review. I just have to say this. I didn't have any high expectations going into this movie. I didn't do any kind of theorizing or anything like that like I normally do. I had a very low bar set when it came down to this movie. And, I heard different rumblings about, the movie is not that great or anything like that. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go in with my own expectations and see what happens. And I'm going to be honest with you. This is not the best Thor movie, in my opinion. I still like Thor Ragnarok over this movie. And even whenever they're doing that one scene with Matt Damon, and then you also have Melissa McCarthy, that stuff just didn't work this time, and it was very cringeworthy to the point where that didn't land well. The jokes didn't really go that well for me. I felt like this was nothing but a Thor comedy in the MCU, and don't get me wrong, I know that Thor Ragnarok had jokes, but underneath the surface of the jokes and stuff like that, the reason why there's so many jokes is because he's trying to cover up the pain that's inside of him, and therefore he covers it up with jokes, and he's trying to make himself feel better. With this one, I thought that Thor recovered from all that stuff, and here he is again trying to find himself and Vladimir and all that, and with the axe, and I'm like, really? So now we're doing a beat by beat again of this, and I'm like, okay, this is not what I had wanted. I thought this was Thor back being happy again, and I just didn't care for the direction that they went in. What about you, though?
I loved it. Honestly, again, this is like, and I think for me, it's I didn't. I think Phase 4 has been very like I've loved 4 of the movies out of this bunch. I loved Black Widow. I thought that was great. I was really impressed with Sun-Chi, and I didn't think I would be. So that one really that's currently my favorite Phase 4 movie, Sun-Chi.
Same.
I knew Eternals was gonna be bad since the trailer didn't impress
I
me.
loved
And
it, but I know
that's
many
fine.
people that don't.
And if you want to know what our thoughts are, tune into like we actually have that on our channel. If you want to find out what we thought of the Eternals, you can find that on our YouTube page. I didn't like the Eternals. Again, I didn't care for it. I was really disappointed with Spider-Man. Like, so I had like two movies like right after the bat. Hated Eternals. I was really disappointed in Spider-Man. Sure, there's aspects I liked. I just came out really like because I had a lot of hype for it. Hype. My hype was so huge for this. It was really hard to go in low expectations. But these last 2 movies, I loved Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Not many people did. And that's fine. And this one, so I think this for me, not talking about a lot of these movies and not going in with a lot of expectations. Like, but this one, I was reading a lot of bad reviews, and I'm like, I'm gonna go see it anyway. I mean, I literally bought the hammer, the popcorn hammer from AMC. You can actually buy that online, actually on AMC theaters. There's a merchandise store. You actually can buy the hammer. You can pre-order it and that. So I'm like, yeah, I felt worthy, so I wanted to buy the hammer. So anyway, I went into this one not expecting a lot. I had a Thor shirt. I loved it. I had a great time during it. I couldn't stop laughing. I loved the goats. Those goats, those fans are absolutely hysterical. Like every time
Those things annoyed me through the whole entire film.
I love them.
I'm sorry, but the goats annoyed the hell out of me. I felt like Star-Lord that just wanted to get rid of Thor, and I was like, look, can I please go back? Can I please go on volume 3 of Guardians of the Galaxy with you? Because I don't want to be with Thor as well on this adventure that we're on for 2.5 hours.
I mean, I love the goats. I thought they worked for me. They didn't work for anybody else. Like, it's fine. I mean, I love the theater crew because I thought that was the funniest part about Ragnarok. The theater crew, Matt Damon as Loki, and you're wondering, wait, he's Loki? Yeah, he's a theater production with actually the other Hemsworth brother. He played Thor, or as somebody called him, Old Spice Thor. Then you had Sam Neill played Odin, but this one, when I knew Melissa McCarthy was in this because I read who she played, and the fact that she played Hela, I knew immediately they're going to do the story of Ragnarok. I thought it was hysterical. I mean, and then oh yeah, go ahead.
You see, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I know I remember. I had a feeling they were going to do Ragnarok because of the fact they winded up telling the story of the first two Thor movies. So it only makes sense for them to do Ragnarok, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I saw Melissa McCarthy, I'm like, oh, good Lord. You already got a bad Netflix film, and now you're on here. I was like, can we please just go back and just fast forward you and get out of here? Because I just didn't like seeing her as Hela. I didn't like the reveal of that. I just didn't like the goats. I didn't like the humor within it. Now, Gorg, on the other hand, he did a really good job of setting that up. I definitely like Gorg's character. Gorg's character is hands down one of my favorite characters in this movie as well. And I like the fact how they give a little bit of an origin story of how they reproduce. So I definitely like that. And I'm going to go off of one thing that you said. I think that even though you're one in a million that probably might feel the same way, or maybe you might not be, but I know that you didn't really care for the Spider-Man movie, but in my opinion, I think that even people say that this is the best Spider-Man movie and it actually holds up to that thing. And I still say that that's actually the best MCU movie out of Phase 4. But here's the thing. I actually have Shang-Chi on top of that first. And then below that is actually Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But, I'm going ahead. I'll let you go on ahead.
No, you're good. I mean, again, I was I didn't expect a lot from Sunchi, and we did a trailer reactions for it. And honestly, I was like not looking forward to it yet. And then I watched the movie and I was like, wow, this was like, I was really impressed. That's why currently it's my current favorite Phase 4 movie. Do I have any idea where we're going with Phase 4? No, I have no idea. I don't like this. The only people that know what they're doing, like that know where this is going, is Kevin Feige and the Marvel. I'm just along for the ride, and I'm just glad for me. I just enjoyed these last two Marvel movies. I don't know. To be honest, I don't think what Black Panther Wakanda is actually coming out this year. We haven't seen anything for it. Maybe we'll see something at Comic-Con. I don't know.
That's what I'm. Well, don't forget, Kevin Feige did say that he was going to make an announcement about going into the phases, and we're going to get to that later on in the review as well, because I do want to touch on that a little bit. I touched on it a little bit in the reel that I did when I was doing the out of theater experience.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, so like I said, I had zero expectations, but I knew the background of Lady Thor. I knew how Jane becomes Lady Thor because of the fact that she has cancer. I thought that was very reminiscent to my mom who had cancer and stuff like that. So I definitely liked the way that they handled the cancer aspect of it. And then the chemistry between Thor and her was really good. And Gorg even explains why they even broke up in the first place. He said, look, Thor and Jane just didn't see eye to eye anymore. They got busy with their lives just like everybody else did.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore they had to go their own separate ways. Jane winds up leaving a note. Thor winds up leaving. And then, of course, we wind up seeing them 4 years later. Mm-hmm. And so then during that time with Christian Bale's character, now, this is what I have to say, though. Christian Bale's character, to me, is one of my favorite villains in the MCU, aside from Killmonger and aside from a couple of the other aside from Loki. But when you look at a good villain, I like the motivation behind it as to why he's killing these gods, because of the fact that he worshipped these gods that they walked on. And the fact that he got backstabbed by the god that he worshipped, and therefore he's like, why should I believe in you anymore now that I'm face to face with you? And my daughter died because we believed in you. And now you're telling me that I'm not supposed to believe in you anymore because everybody else doesn't? So then he winds up killing the god. And whenever he kills him, I'm like, okay, we have plot motivation. And I like the motivation behind it because of the fact that he's actually feeling like he's damaged. He's feeling like he doesn't belong anymore. He doesn't feel like there's a sense of purpose or anything like that. So why should I go ahead and since everybody else don't believe in these gods, then I should just go ahead and destroy them myself and do something about it.
Yeah, I thought he was great. I thought Christian Bale was great in this. Again, it's like he was a good villain, but I loved how they did the visuals for that, like that, especially when they go to his world. How they did that, like, it's top notch visuals. I thought it was like really cool how it's no color, but yet it's black and white, but it doesn't feel black and white. It felt like a comic strip a little bit when you're watching it.
Mm-hmm. You know what it felt like? It kind of felt like Sin City, but in an MCU movie.
Yeah.
If you and stuff like that, and that's something that I really liked. It felt like a 1950s MRA or something. I forgot. Noir is what I'm thinking of. But I liked how they did it, and even Jane's like, "Where's the color go?" And then that's basically the audience thinking to themselves, "Where's the color go? What's going on with the color?" But the goats, I know I said that they were annoying, but the funny moment was whenever they crashed to the planet around the. So that part did make me chuckle. I own up to the fact that it did make me chuckle on that end. Okay, so another thing, I knew Zeus was going to bite the bullet. I know he was going to die. I was just thinking Christian Bale was going to do it and not Thor. And I'm like, and then of course, I'm thinking Zeus, the god of lightning, is going to be in this movie. And of course, I know it's with Taika Waititi, right? I know that he's good with the humor. He lands the jokes and stuff like that. But this is so over the top. And I was like, can we please just downgrade this just a little bit to have a little bit of seriousness with Zeus? Zeus does not need to be the way that it was perceived on the screen for this universe. And he's like an Italian god. And all he cares about is orgies. And that's it.
Sorry, I laughed hysterically when he mentioned orgies. You're not invited. All right, with the first big thing, we need to plan the orgies. I cried. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, "What?" Orgies? And then
remember in Ragnarok they mentioned orgies in Ragnarok though too.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, this was I thought that whole sequence was hysterical. Okay, you're not going to the orgy, and then it's like, all right. And then when they revealed, like when they ripped Thor's clothes off, you went too far, and everybody fainted. I thought that was hysterical.
And get this, there was this woman that was there with her kids. She goes, "Oh my." That was her.
Like, well, you saw a man ass right there.
Right, but the mother and grandmother is like, "Oh my." She went like this. She covered up the kid's eyes.
I'm like, for a PG-13 movie, you did that. I'm pretty sure those same people probably brought their kids to see Step Brothers and stuff.
Probably, but it just makes me laugh though. Yeah. Whenever she's like, "Oh my,"
like I wanted to go back. Yeah, sorry, I wanted to go back to like we talked about Jane. It was great seeing Natalie Portman back, and I loved again. I knew that aspect going in because I was reading a lot of like stuff going into this. So that the only stuff like the big thing I knew it going in, how Jane became Thor. Jane had cancer. The cancer was killing. Like her turn into Thor was getting rid of her chemo. I knew all about that, and I knew how the ending was going to happen. She was going to sacrifice herself, and that. I think in the comics, again, she doesn't die, and I think she's going to come back as a Valkyrie. That's how I see this playing out because I think she wants to come back for more, and I'm like, I want to see more Jane because I want to see if she can get more of her puns ready. Like it's just like you're gonna eat the hammer or this like or just like
you know what she reminds me of is Sandra Bullock from Demolition Man.
Yeah,
when it comes down to the punchlines.
Yeah, like this the punchline she tried doing, and again I thought she was great, and it was really nice seeing Darcy show back up briefly. So it was because the last time we saw her was WandaVision, so she showed up, but I loved what she did with the hammer and how the hammer just like broke apart, destroyed a bunch of people, and then got back. I thought that was awesome.
Yes, I love that. And you know what though? I know that I bashed on her like with the Jane Foster character in the beginning of my podcast in 2019.
Yeah.
And I just called her plain Jane and stuff like that. I made jokes. And it depends on how you do the character and how you write that character. And she was just poorly written. Taika actually gave her some light into her character to where people can care about her character now. And I definitely like it. And I definitely like I said, the stuff with the cancer. I like how Latimer is actually
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's great. It was like how they did everything was great with Jane. Sorry.
No. But here's the thing. So I liked all that stuff. I definitely liked the stuff with Jane. I liked the Latimer stuff, and then of course whenever now this is the part that I didn't like was the part where you actually have Idris Elba's kid
Hmm.
that's been captured, and then Thor's going in and out with doing the vision thing.
Hmm.
I'm like, dude, are you that stupid? Like, I get the fact in the first Thor movie, he's basically a fish out of water, right? And this one, he's supposed to have a little bit more common sense. If I captured a bunch of kids and I see them, and then I see them interacting with Thor, even through a vision, Christian Bale's character would have actually known that he was even there. I'm like, dude, you are being stupid right now by telling them your plan. He could come after you if this plan doesn't work with getting the gods together. And then you tell the kids afterwards, oh yeah, we have a fabulous plan, da 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 da. Then all of a sudden, that's actually made me think you are a stupid beach bum right now. Because of the fact that Christian Bale's character could come after you and you're basically being the bait and everything. So I didn't like that stuff because of how stupid that Thor was actually acting. Because I was thinking on the danger aspect of it, where something could happen to him and Valkyrie and Borg and of course Jane. So that's how I was thinking on that side of things. And then of course, whenever you see him asking for Zeus Thunderbolt, I wasn't expecting Thor to try to kill him with the Thunderbolt or anything like that. But this is also Thor being an airhead yet again, trying to show ignorance, though, too, as well. Because remember in the hey baby, hey Brandy, but yeah, here's the thing. You remember in the first Thor movie, right? How
Yes.
ignorant he was and how he was showing masculinity and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's doing it in the same kind of sense, though, too. Because
Yeah.
of the fact he destroyed a palace with his powers. He doesn't care what he's destroying. I'm like, okay, so now we're repeating things from the first movie now that we've already thought that he already grown from. This, to me, was a big miss, to be honest with you.
That's fine. I mean, I think again, I can definitely see that. Again, I think for me, I didn't pick up on that. I was just laughing because he was just being an idiot, and that's like fine. Because I think the other thing too, Thor was like he's trying to look he's trying to look tough because his former flame is Thor, and he's like trying to figure out what am I supposed to do? My former ex-girlfriend now has the power of Thor, and she's more superior than I am. So like he's just trying to. I don't know. I thought again, I don't know. Like I can see that side. I think for me, it's just him being an idiot. It was kind of funny, and I could see like and yeah, I definitely see the arrogance that. But I want to go back also to talk about Quark a little bit. Quark was great.
Right.
I loved him in Ragnarok, and I loved how he's telling the story of Thor. And he goes, his brother, his mom died. His brother died. His brother died again, and then a third time. His father dead. Like it's just like like the right in the beginning, he's just telling her like all the death and all that stuff. And I thought that was hysterical. And then again, I love the opening though, like when Thor was like his brother Thor, and he goes and he just jumps off the cliff and he's riding the axe like a broom, like is very like, and he's like this like, oh, I said it was gonna be like a vacation, but I mean, I thought his brief interaction with the Guardians, I was hysterical. And then how he just goes full on like destruction mode and destroys the palace in the beginning. And then him doing the epic of epic splits with the two cars. I thought that was hysterical. It was pretty much a little shade at not only the great Jean-Claude Van Damme, but it was a little thrown shade at Channing Tatum because Channing Tatum tried doing it to promote 22 Jump Street, and he's screaming in pain, and then the Thor's is flexing with it. I thought that part was all hysterical. Like going in, if you didn't like the opening, you probably were gonna like because that was it set the tone for the movie, and that's what introduced the goats. But I just love one, and the joke that kind of like I didn't pick up at first when he's talked about Cork talked about, oh, I had a friend named Dwayne. He's a rock. And it's just like, I was like, oh my God, he mentioned Dwayne the Rock Johnson. I had a friend named Dwayne. He was a rock.
Right. I did enjoy that part. And then also, too, Now, the other thing I enjoyed was like the opening part with Gorg explaining the origins of Thor. Because think of it like this: if you go into this movie and you don't know anything that happened in the movies, you're lost. So he basically caught everybody up in a funny way of saying who died around him, and also too, I liked how he also explained Thor's love story though too. Because he fell in love with a wolf woman, he fell in with a goat woman, he fell in love with
Pirate.
this woman and a pirate, and then there was always that one love, the one
Yeah.
love that never got away.
And
That
then, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
and that is Jane. Jane
Jane
uh,
Fonda. He called it. He called her. He called him. Called Jane Foster Jane Fonda at first, and I love the breakup aspect to it when they played ABBA for it. I thought that
yeah,
was. I thought that was perfect. And then
actually,
oh yeah,
I
sorry.
think
Go
that
ahead.
was I think that was Inya is what they played, because I remember hearing that in the '90s. It was Inya,
Okay,
I
I
believe.
thought it was ABBA for some reason. I
No,
saw
that's
somebody.
okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought somebody said expect no more than three, like no less than three Guns N' Roses songs and one ABBA song. So I don't know if
Okay.
that I don't know if that was true or not. Well, like, but I believe I remember that was I believe that was ABBA, but I could be wrong. But I thought that
No, I
was
think you're right though. Now that I'm thinking about back at it, I think you're right on that.
yeah. I thought it was hysterical. I thought it was perfect, and I love the hot the kind of the how geeky how much of a nerd Jane Foster was. To she her costume was the alien coming out of her chest, and I was like for the chest buster. And I thought, oh wow, that's pretty cool. But no, I again, she was great as Jane Foster. Her introduction and Thor's reaction. Jane is oh hi, what's up? And then how he like what was the last time I saw you? And it was the exact date when Thor: The Dark World was released, and I thought that was pretty funny. And I love the cameos in this one about how they got each actor got their kids involved in this movie. And I believe I think a lot of the kids were the kids captured I think that was Taika Waititi's kids, Christian Bale's kids, Thor's son was involved. I think he was in the intro video about Thor growing up. His son was used in that part, and then of course the actress that played Love, hence the title Love and Thunder, was his actual daughter, and then Hemsworth's wife guest starred in it too at some part.
Right. There's actually something else I want to get into as
Sure.
well. Like now, the Guns N' Roses stuff. Don't get me wrong. I love Guns N' Roses. I love the fact that they played "Sweet Child of Mine" in the trailer. But it felt like it felt like a music video. I'm like, really? Can we just move along? Because I really don't want to see a music video featuring Thor. That's what it felt like to me whenever I'm hearing the Guns N' Roses stuff. But I do want to touch on some stuff that Alex had said, because I have his notes right here.
Sure.
So the jokes, he felt like it was one after another without giving the story time to breathe, and I wasn't able to connect with it. He also follows up with the second half of the movie was much more balanced, and I was better to connect with Jane Foster's story as well as Gorg's. Jane Foster was incredible in this movie. I would have been okay with her being the only Thor in this movie, or the MVP of the movie, but he needed way more screen time to be considered imposing. Ending credits scene made him share, and that's the one with Hercules. So that's actually Alex's initial thoughts on the movie itself.
Oh, that was actually a lot better than I was expecting, to be honest. Because I like this title of the movie, terrible movie. I'm like, okay, but no, I mean, again, this movie's not for everybody, and it's fine. Again, it worked for me. I loved it. I enjoyed it. Again, I love the visuals. Yeah, I love the goats. The goats didn't work for everybody, but I mean, and then I just seeing Jane back. The fact that Natalie Portman hated playing her character, and the one man that gets her back is Taika Waititi. Again, he's been getting a lot of a criticism. I'm like, I like the guy. I think he's like this generation's Wes Anderson. He's quirky. He's there's only so much he can pull off. Like I don't think Wes Anderson or anybody else would be able to pull off Jojo Rabbit, but he could. So again, it's just it's everybody's cup of tea. If you're not a big Taika Waititi fan, I don't recommend this for you. But I think the movie this for me just worked. I had a fun time watching it. couldn't stop laughing. I love the Guardians. Seen them again. The scene that handshake he tried to do with like that thing. No, this is an Asgardian's handshake. I thought that was hysterical. And he's like, you need to stop feeling like you need to find someone to make you feel like like you give half a shit, and not so you're not empty inside. And then when he's staring at him, he's like, what? Not what me? No, like. And of course, them bringing back Lady Sif. I thought that was really cool. She's the only one that's, going back to the montage of who died. Oh, this guy died. I have no idea who this person is. He died. Like, it's just like anybody in Thor's life died. That was pretty much the moral of the story in the intro. Anybody that Thor gets close to dies.
Right. And I also like how Valkyrie is back.
Oh, yeah.
This, though, too. And I like how Valkyrie... how Gorg, the God Killer, winds up telling her everybody around her dies as well.
Yeah,
and everything too. But I want to mention this though too, as I was thinking about this while I was watching this. You know how Lady Thor with the hammer of Vladimir, you know how the hammer is basically killing her.
Yeah.
Okay, so in a sense, the weapon that Gorg has is also killing him.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like I put not Gorg, but I Christian Bale's character at the same level as like Lady Thor having cancer, basically on that same kind of scale where they can actually relate in a certain way because that weapon is actually killing him, just like how that the hammer's killing her, taking out the chemo and stuff like that. So that's what I got out of that, which I thought was actually pretty cool on how they thought that up. If they haven't, that's just my idea. But,
oh, sorry, go ahead, John.
No, go on ahead.
I was gonna say the other thing that kind of worked for me. I don't know if it did. I thought the kind of like the relationship Thor had with the hammer, or the axe, and when he finds is like Thor's not only having a mental breakdown with his girlfriend, he's actually having a mental breakdown between the two weapons, and it's very like. It just reminded me so much of Mr. Garrison from South Park, where he had Mr. Hat, and then he then he went to Mr. Twig, and he went back to Mr. Hat. Like again, this is right. I just couldn't stop laughing. Anytime when Thor's like talking about the hammer, you see the axe just randomly show up right next to him. Because what? I wasn't talking about them. Like he's talking like like he's in a relationship with the axe, the Stormbreaker. I thought that part was hilarious. Just like how anytime he's like. And then randomly the axe just shows up, and he's like, "What? We're just friends."
That stuff actually made sense to me in a sense because they made the axe in the X.
Yeah.
Basically, I was making an X and X joke, but I think that's actually they actually made that a character. That's something that I really have to say. They made the axe more of a character this time versus it just being a weapon.
Yeah,
it has some feelings. It has some heart into these weapons, and that's something that I did like about that.
Yeah,
but as a whole and everything, I was expecting a little bit more from this. I was hoping that he would actually drop the humor just a little bit to let us have a little bit of breather, like Alex said. In that sense, I actually do agree with him. Don't forget, Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, it has humor, but it gave us a chance to catch up and have a breather on some seriousness and then follow up with some jokes and also and stuff like that. And I thought it worked. But with this, it's just one after another. I'm like, okay, I was looking at my watch. I was ready to go. I'm like this. And then the end credit scene and stuff like that with the Italian orgy, Zeus didn't land for, and I'm like, nah, I didn't, huh?
Hercules, that was that one. Then, like I said, I had no idea who that was. I'm like, oh, they're bringing her Hercules. All right, cool.
Yeah, I didn't know who it was either until Alex mentioned it. And don't get me wrong, I wanted to see Hercules around that arena. I think it would add more to it. That's just me. But the fact that he shows up makes me think that now he's on a hit list from. Now Thor's on a hit list.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. Because of the fact that he sent a lightning bolt into Zeus.
Yeah.
And that's his father. yeah, that's like trying to whack the mafia boss. Nah.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the end sequence scene, the post-credit scene, though, with
Oh,
Jane Foster.
oh, before that, I want to mention the other thing I like, the kids. I love the kids got
Oh yeah,
superpowers. I thought that was awesome, and I thought that was kind of cool and cute at the same time. Oh, they're getting the kids, especially some of the kids as weapons. The kid had a bunny, a stuffed bunny that shot laser out of his eyes. I was like, I thought that was hysterical. And I thought the little girl that was twirling, and she ended up cutting a monster in half. I mean, they made that sequence that like really scary and sequence. I thought they made that I thought they did that really well to actually have the kids fighting them, and I thought and Thor being like all nice that he is, or only for a limited time though, but he should have the power of Thor, and every single one of them was using like. But I thought the bunny with lasers coming out of his eyes, that was absolutely hysterical.
most definitely. And I think that that sequence alone with the kids was fantastic. I like the action sequence with that. I also liked it when Thor's trying to pull the axe away from the doorway, and I was thinking like there was going to be this other big, huge bad that was going to be coming out of there,
Mm-hmm.
but no, it's just a pathway into immortality, and all he was trying to do was get to his daughter this whole entire time, in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I like and also too, Christian Bale broke my heart whenever he sees his daughter and he's dying, and then you see Jane over there, and she's about to die, and you know, I just thought it was a perfect way to actually end the way they did,
Mm-hmm.
and then it gives Thor a sense of living because now he has a daughter to take care of,
Yeah.
but I much had rather them not have to go through all of that stuff at the very beginning just to get to that. I wanted
Mm-hmm.
Thor to be more the happy Thor, and
Yeah.
this just gives him more of a reason to be even more happy because of the fact now he has a daughter to take care of.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I just wish that they didn't go back and repeat the same beats that they did from the first three movies, if you think about it. Because of the fact in Endgame, that should have been it. That should have been when after he killed Thanos, there shouldn't have been any of this depression anymore or anything like that, unless he's just tired of doing everyday stuff with Star-Lord and stuff like that, and Star-Lord is just doesn't have to do anything
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that he's got the Thor God of Thunder on his team and stuff. But still, overall, this movie was okay. It could have been better, in my opinion. But okay, so I wanted to talk about the phase and stuff like that.
Oh,
Okay,
John.
so
Sorry. Did you want to talk about the post-credit scene with Jane real quick, and then go into
yeah,
phases? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
no. We'll talk about that right now. I like seeing Idris Elba back and the conversation between her and Jane. So
Mm-hmm.
that tells me that she's probably going to wind up playing a big role, probably going into how the phase actually ends, maybe.
Yeah, I think so. I was so expecting her like that credit scene to her be back on Earth, back on New Asgard as Valkyrie. I really thought they're gonna do that, but it was really nice seeing it. Adrian's like, thanks for taking care of my son. You can go ahead and enter now. I thought that was like, I didn't know what was going on with that, but again, seeing the two of them back, I thought that was pretty cool. But I was expecting her to be the Valkyrie right off the bat, but if not, that's okay. I think they're gonna save that, but I expect her to be back. Like
I expect her to right.
Yeah,
I expect her to be riding Pegasus because I geeked out whenever I saw her riding Pegasus.
Mm-hmm.
And I geeked out. That I like Greek mythology and stuff like that. And I just had like this giddy moment in the theater watching her fly on Pegasus, and I just loved it. It was like entering in a WWE ring, and she just goes on ahead, does a superhero landing, and Thor just looks at her like, "Really? I told you to be staying in that hospital bed, woman, and now here you are bothering me, right?"
Yeah.
But I loved it. I mean it. I stuffed popcorn in my face the whole time. I loved it.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not a perfect movie, but it balances itself out a little bit to where I can say I enjoy aspects of it. It's not. I'm gonna be honest with you. Everybody's like, "Oh, this is a horrible movie" and stuff like that. It isn't a great movie, but if you find aspects that you like, it's not as bad as you might have thought it might have been. because that's what I did. I found some kind of balance into it and not just hating it all the way through. Because
Yeah.
as I came out of the theater, I'm like, what did I enjoy about this film that I can actually say that I enjoyed without being so critically, just not
Yeah.
wanting to bash it to pieces. And I was like, well, I like Christian Bale's character. I liked, uh, of course, I also liked the whole entire dynamic with Gord. I
Yeah.
liked the introduction. I liked all that stuff. It
Yeah.
was just the jokes was overburdened to the
Hmm.
point where it just didn't land for me, and I
Yeah.
wasn't finding myself laughing this time,
Yeah.
and it was just over the top.
I I, I
So,
I can see that. Again, I did what I didn't like was seen on Twitter. People saying this movie's terrible and they don't give legit reasons why, or they said it's too political. And that's all I'm gonna say. And I'm like, no, that's not like when you say something like that, that's not a legit review. And why are you reviewing movies if that's your answer to everything? You should like again, if you don't like it, that's fine. But you should maybe have like legit reasons, not saying, "Oh, it was that or that." I mean, again, that's what.
right,
Yeah, again, everybody likes certain items. I loved this movie for what it was. It was entertaining. It entertained me. I didn't like Spider Man because I was like, because it was I was disappointed at it. I didn't hate it. I just felt disappointed because I was expecting a little bit too much, and again, it was well warranted because it was one of the most overhyped, most hyped movies of 2021. It just didn't work for me. I just came out disappointed, and that's fine. If you don't like something, that's fine. But you don't have to go
right.
attack somebody on Twitter for it, or or somebody likes it saying they shouldn't be reviewing movies and stuff like that. And that's not the whole point of this. The whole point is to watch movies and have fun, and
Right.
actually maybe and actually have fun doing watching a movie and reviewing about it, not reviewing it for the sake of reviewing it. Like,
Well,
yeah,
here's the thing. Now, I don't want to get onto the PC stuff,
no, I don't either.
but
But
but here's the thing. There are some comic books that are political that you can actually say that it is a political thing that you can pick up on. With this, I didn't feel like anything was political in this film. I think they were just trying to find things to hate it
mhm.
rather than just finding something positive out about it.
Yeah,
And another thing I want to bring up real quick before we move into the phase thing that I wanted to talk about was this. So I was like this. I felt like coming out of this film, I was entertained. As long as I felt like I was entertained, then the movie did its job. And if I found some kind of balance into it on something that I liked, hey, the movie was okay.
yeah,
And also too, the Doctor Strange was my version of Spider-Man No Way Home because
hmm
I had so much of high expectations for it because of the fact I've read House of M before. And I try to connect the dots with it.
hmm
I went into the second time viewing it when I went to a Brandy and stuff like that, and I liked it a little bit, but not as much as I had wanted to.
hmm
After I know what I was getting,
yeah,
so okay, so going into the phases and stuff like that. Now, I feel like even though with the solo films and stuff like that, and one of my friends like, well, even the solo films were misconjointed. There was no cohesiveness into the MCU that connected everything together. I said no, but they connected small things here. Hey, what's going on, Joshua? Brother John as the Odin, dubbed the royal member of the guard. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for your hospitality and your loyalty to me. I do appreciate that. Zeus will be waiting on the other corner for an orgy. So, anyways,
So are you now? Do you now have the power of Thor?
hey, I don't know about that one. So, anyways, let's go into so the phases and stuff like that. Like I was trying to talk about with the cohesiveness of the story. And here's the thing. I told him this. I said, look, yeah, there was no cohesiveness within the solo films itself, but they connected characters. They told us about certain characters that were going to be within this MCU. They gave us Thor's hammer. They gave us little nuggets of information as whenever it came down to the Incredible Hulk cameo with Tony Stark. You had little nuggets. With this one, it doesn't give you anything. It's going slowly on, hoping that it ties into something versus it actually tying into something. And I'm kind of worried. I mean, we have two okay movies, according to some people, some bad movies, according to some people, and it's like me in the middle with certain aspects I like. Shang-Chi is probably the best adaptation of this phase so far, aside from Spider-Man No Way Home. And it worries me that we only have two good ones and two, it was okay movies. You know, and Derby Gaming, okay. Ragnarok 2, Thor,
Love and Thunder,
on, okay.
and then the
Thor.
Big Dot, and then the Dark World.
Okay, I'm gonna have to do my ranking after we do our rewatch reviews because I do want to plan on doing some rewatches and then do our rankings. Orgy will be painful.
Which is
I love it.
But was just funny because actually I binged all the Thor movies and all the Avenger movies before I watched Love and Thunder. So I was like, oh, okay. So I was already like, yeah, I was already prepared, ready to go for this time. But I don't know. Again, I really don't have like any clue of what we're going. I think again, Shang-Chi is probably the closest one where we actually got some information, like where we saw the Hulk and Captain Marvel show up with Wong before they decided to go party and do karaoke. So I think that one's the biggest clear one about where we're going to go with this. But I don't know. Again, they seem to be setting up like Black Widow set up the Hawkeye show a little bit with when Val showed up.
Right. It's basically a prequel. But yeah.
It was, but towards the post-credit scene at the end of Widow was set up here's your target, Clint. And again, because originally the Val character was supposed to show up first in Black Widow, but since COVID happened, Falcon and Winter Soldier got out first. So again, I have no clue where we're going. And to be honest, I really don't think Black Panther Wakanda Forever is coming out this year. I don't like they keep saying it's November 11th, 2022. Gut feeling, I think it's going to get pushed. Because I
might say January of 2023 or February of 2023.
Yeah, I will. Maybe around that time frame, because I think March, it's either March or May of 2023. We're getting Guardians 3 right off the bat.
Right.
So again, I don't know. They're again, they'll figure this out. I just at this point, I kind of wish we knew what this phase is. Was it a phase of all these these villains? Maybe that they're still.
I'm thinking. Here's the thing: we've been having a lot of gods, right?
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's going to be someone big to do the ending phase. I'm thinking that we're going to be facing off a big bad god at the end of this phase, and I wouldn't be surprised about that. Because think of it like this: we had gods in Moon Knight, we had gods in this one, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But every single thing that we're facing off against, even in Eternals, was dealing with gods. We're even dealing with Thanos' brother as well. So we have that going on. So there's only X amount of things that they could actually do. I want to see Derpy Gaming's comment real quick.
All right.
Honestly, I thought I watched the first Ant-Man with Love and Thunder. It does nothing for the current state of the MCU, just the movies. So yeah. Another thing I want to mention is this, though, is the TV series. Now, I had WandaVision being a really good show, but after seeing Doctor Strange, it loses that flavor because it didn't go where the marker was supposed to go at, and therefore it missed its landing for me. I still have Moon Knight as my number one when it comes down to Marvel shows because of the mythology of the Egyptian mythology and stuff like that. But as far as the shows go and everything, I feel like this. Stop making TV shows centered around Disney Plus. Start focusing back on your movies now. Don't get me wrong. I love watching Marvel Cinematic Universe stuff on TV, but I feel like they need to go back to what was making their bread and butter, which was making the MCU movies. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think we're going to get that next year because I think we're starting off with a bang in February of next year with Ant-Man and the Quantumanium. So that one's going to be, I think that one's going to be the big trigger because that's when they're going to that's when Kane is supposed to return. The Jonathan Majors character from the end of Loki. That character, he's going to be the big one that's going to be showing up. So he's going to show up in Ant-Man 3, which is February 17th. So it's not going to be that long till when we get the new one. And let me see when Guardians, because I know Guardians 3 is also next year.
Right. Let me
That's May 5th.
do me a favor real quick.
Yeah, sure thing.
The midnight cinema. Joshua commented on, made 2 comments already. I wanted to see them.
Oh yeah, sorry about that.
Not the current state, but I do think a War of the Realms, War of the Gods storyline is coming. I think so too. They touched on a lot of afterlife stuff recently with Black Panther, with Moon Knight, Black Panther, and now Thor. Eternals didn't showcase theirs, but there's more we can touch on. Definitely more that they can touch on, because I think that we're going to be introduced into a god that we're going to have to face against, and I'm wondering who that could be. And there's actually a name I want to go with, but I forgot. I'm coming up with a blank right now as to who it is. Watch me remember whenever we get off here. And then all of a sudden I just message you, Josh.
So again, I don't know. We still got the next movie is Black Panther. To be honest, I don't really see that coming out this year. I could see that pushed to January, I think. I don't know. I mean, and then I know we got some series coming out though. I think Echo is supposed to be out this year. That one's supposed to bring back Daredevil characters of Matt Murdock, and Kingpin is supposed to be in that show. And then I think we got the Guardians holiday special. So I don't know. I mean, and then the She-Hulk Attorney at Law, which is supposed to have Jessica Jones in it. So again, I don't know. I kind of agree. I think they need to maybe work on a little bit more. We need more movies. And I think what really affected us, the whole pandemic, that kind of really affected the process of how this is going to go. So if we didn't have the pandemic, I don't think these movies would have been maybe we'll get more cohesiveness to them. Again, I don't know. But I got more faith in them right now than I do DC. I know DC's got a big one in December of Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Well, no, before that, Black Adam. That one looks great. I'm really looking forward to that. And then we got Shazam: Fury of the Gods coming out in December. So I don't know what DC's gonna do. I mean, they got so much trouble right now, and I think they need to rip the Band-Aid off.
I just feel bad for them because the owner of Discovery just bought Warner Brothers, and now they're having to deal with a Loki in their Warner Brothers acting department.
Yeah.
And now they're probably trying to strategize on what to do, and they don't know the direction to go in because either which way they'll lose money on it.
Yeah.
So, I think that, stick with the movies. The shows just oversaturation. Yep. I do feel like the shows are a little bit oversaturation, but of course, I think that they can actually do a better job at laying down the groundwork with certain characters that they're trying to introduce. Because if it's like new characters like Miss Marvel, I think that they can actually do a good job at layering those characters out to the point where a 2.5-hour movie wouldn't be that beneficial to me personally. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. So again, sorry, go ahead.
But as far as DC goes, I think they're like, you know what? Screw it. We're not going to try and do a shared universe anymore. We're scrapping everything all together. We're just going to come out with movies and make the best movies that we can, and forget about everything else.
Yeah.
And I think that's actually a great strategy because it's actually working for them. Even though some people may not like the Batman or whatever, it still made bank in March, stuff like that. Yeah. So despite people's reaction to it, it still made money. The Joker made money. And they're doing their own thing. They're not having to do a shared universe and feeling like they're handcuffed to actually telling a cohesive story anymore.
Yeah.
They're just doing what they normally did every single time they get turned around with a WB project.
Yeah.
They do a solo film, it makes bank. Okay, let's do the next movie and do something else. So that's what I'm seeing from Warner Brothers right now.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
For Phase 4, I still think Skrulls is the big idea for Phase 4 of the Skrulls, because I really think it's going to really take face when we get to Secret Invasion next year. In person, I'm really excited for that one because we're actually getting Fury back, and the last time we saw Fury, he's up in space, and the only one that really mentioned that was really WandaVision is when they brought Monica Rambeau, the daughter. Hey, a friend of mine that lives up that worked with your mom. He really wants to meet you. And she goes, where? So I think that one's gonna really take face, and I think we're gonna see back the cousin of Sharon Carter. Yes, I think we're gonna see her back. And to be honest, I think she's like a double agent. Like she's playing the bad guy, but she's really the good guy because Fury told her to. I don't know. I really want to continue back to that story. I'm like, I like the mythical stuff, but I kind of want that's what I really love, the more grounded kind of stuff. That's why I still think, for me, my favorite MCU movie is The Winter Soldier, because it was
Winter
grounded.
Soldier's fantastic.
Yeah, the Winter Soldier's and it's grounded, but it did what it needed to do. It like blew up the whole MCU.
It felt like a Tom Clancy movie.
It did. It was a political thriller. That's what it was. It was a political thriller, and that's what I liked a lot about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Yeah, the ending was disappointing. Yeah, it was. But still, I want to know. I kind of want to know more of what's really going on with Sharon Carter. Like, because they I really want to know more about that, and I think we'll get more either in Secret Invasion or Armor Wars, and that should be out not this year but next year. But Secret Invasion, we're getting Fury back. And I want to know, like, the whole idea of the scrolls, because I really think that's something to play into, and I think that's going to play into the new Deadpool movie, to be honest.
Well, one last thing before we actually close out.
Sure thing.
I was actually thinking that we were going to probably go up into space again. I was thinking that we were going to see Nick Fury reach out to Thor or something, since we actually had a Nick Fury kind of cameo with the cell phone. Thinking that maybe he summons Thor, but no, we didn't get that. But I was just thinking that there might have been like a little bit of a post-credit scene for that or whatever, but no, we didn't, but that's okay. But that's everything that I had wanted to cover as far as Thor Love and Thunder.
No, I can't think of anything. I think I covered everything else. Again, I like this movie. I enjoyed it. Do I think this might be the last Marvel movie we'll see this year? Gut feeling tells me yes. Because we haven't seen anything yet for Wakanda Forever, and that's for good reasons, because I think they're still trying to figure that out, and it's a shame about like Chadwick Boseman just died too young, because I think that kind of ruined their plans a little bit. So hopefully we'll find out more during Comic-Con this year about what's going on for the rest of the Marvel movies, because they were supposed to be there. So I'm expecting to maybe hear more information. Because I'm interested how they're gonna do this one. I'll come out and say I wasn't a fan of the Black Panther movie. I liked the character in Civil War. I just didn't like the solo movie. I felt like I've seen it before. Sure, there's stuff that was cool in it, but overall I didn't care for it. But I'm intrigued to how they're gonna do this now, because being in Phase 4, and then yeah. So again, do I see it coming out this year? Honestly, I don't. But stranger things have happened.
Exactly. So with that being said, that's going to be it as far as the show goes. And tomorrow night, I'm not going to be doing a show or anything like that. I'm going to be on Clinton Robinson's podcast show tomorrow night, talking about D&D and mental health surrounding around the D&D game. Then on Thursday, I'm going to be doing our Talking Miss Marvel with William from Conversation About ... podcast. And then Friday, I'm taking the day off. And even Saturday and Sunday. So I might do a little short here and there. But other than that, nope, nothing that I'm doing on YouTube or anything like that. I'd just like to take a couple of days off just for myself. So that way I don't feel like I'm being burnt out or anything. So with that being said, guys, don't forget to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Don't forget to comment below if you like this video and want to see more. Don't forget, we actually have the Hocus Pocus trailer reaction. We actually ended up dropping, Charlie and I just did a trailer reaction for Day Shift. We also got an Elvis non-spoiler review that I did. We've got a lot of stuff here that I covered. Even if you don't want to sit through an hour of this, guess what? You guys can take this on the road with you and go mobile by just going on ahead, going down below, and go into the descriptions, and that's where you can find our podcast. So therefore, if you don't want to listen to my mouth run or watch my mouth run, just go on ahead, listen to my big mouth on a podcast, and you'll be able to find me over there, wherever you guys get your major podcasts from. Then, of course, like I said, we're going to be back over here on Monday, and that's going to be it as far as the show goes. Always until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun. I can't wait to do this again, and thank you, Josh. Thank you, Derpy. Thank you, Brandy, for commenting in the live section. And always until next time, guys. Bye-bye.